Okay, so let's make a start. So just a little bit of intro and admin at the start here. So today's session is going to be mostly slides. I've got my demo site sitting behind this PowerPoint deck to pop up and show you various areas. But because we're kind of talking a little bit about theory for the most part, it's going to be primarily slides. But, you know, I've put in a few pictures here and there, so hopefully it will be still fairly interesting for you. And as I say, we've got a demo here and there to show you what I'm talking about in certain areas. So questions are very welcome, and please, if you could use the Q&A area of Zoom to post your questions, that means that Matt and I can track which questions haven't or have been answered, and if we don't get to all the questions, then we can easily identify those and then post responses to those questions in the community when we upload the recording. So Matt is looking after the Q&A. He's also looking after the chat area where any comments that you've got and any links that I drop on Matt to try and suddenly find and post in the chat will be posted. So things like links to the Academy course or the help documentation. I always try to keep a surprise in there in each presentation for Matt, and he never fails to find that link really quickly. So today's session is being recorded. We will share the recording in a day or two. It just takes a little while to process. And that will be available in the Totara community, which under the webinars and in demand area, so you can find it through the new catalogue. And as I said, any questions that I don't get to, I'll post in a follow-up forum post. Likewise, any questions that you think of after the session or any other questions relating to open badges, please feel free to post on the forums, and myself or another member of the support team will post a response. So thank you again for joining. A few more people have joined us, so thank you and welcome. So Matt, anything I need to know before I go to the first proper slide?
No, I think I, like everyone else, is really excited to learn about open badges.
Excellent. Okay. So behold my amazing graphic design skills, everyone. Arrows. So what are digital credentials? So really, they're just a fancy word for an online or digital version of a paper-based credential or an award. And in the context of Totara and what we're talking about today, that means open badges. Now, open badges have been around for a very long time. They were originally a big old project run by Mozilla. And Totara got on board super early on in that, recognizing the power that you could have in a free and open standard for capturing and transferring recognition of achievement. So open badges is based on a pretty standard framework. It used to be called issue, earn, share. You'll see different iterations of that. But basically what that means is you can someone can issue an open badge. It can be a business, an organization, could be a social group, could even be an individual that in some way issues an open badge. And you need issuing software like Totara, which can create and issue those badges. Then we have, excuse me, then we have the earner. So that's someone, excuse me, I think my voice is breaking. One moment. There we go. So then you can have someone who can earn that badge. So when the issuer creates that badge, they set various criteria for earning or being awarded that badge. So someone may earn that badge. Once they've earned that badge, they can share that badge, and that might be within that issuing software. So within Totara, you can share badges and have your latest badges displayed on your dashboard. You can let folks know that you've earned badges, but you can also share to an external what's called backpack, which is kind of just a repository of all the badges that you've earned from various systems and from various organizations. And then you can use that backpack to share to various social networks and websites such as LinkedIn. Now, the power of digital credentials is that when you share those badges, in this case, and someone views that, they can, when they view that badge, there's a verifying process to prove that that badge has been issued to you. So there's a check that goes, yes, actually, Meredith has is sharing this badge, and she did earn it. She did X, Y, Z to earn that badge, and that very much underpins the power of badges. So how is that done? So this is a nice image that I've used before, others have used it before, but it sums up things really beautifully. So a badge is an image, and we can see that the little star is the image here. And within that image, there is information or metadata baked in. And that will include things like the badge name and the criteria for earning that badge, which I've already mentioned, as well as a range of other information or metadata. So who issued it, when it was issued, when it expires, who created the image. All of this information is captured within just that tiny little badge. So there are, what is the difference between a badge and a certificate? And I should stress that there's a time and a place for both of these types of awards. I'm not saying that badges should replace certificates in any way. There are definitely use cases and situations where a certificate is more applicable than a badge. However, it's good to have these in contrast to see kind of the pros and cons and the strengths and weaknesses of these different types of credentials. So certificates are typically offline. It might be an online file like a PDF, but typically people will print that off. Maybe if they're feeling fancy, they'll put it in a frame as well. And this is a traditional award. People will, if they do a first aid course, for example, they might expect a physical award or certificate to be given to them on the conclusion of that training. It's very much ingrained in many organizations that you do something, you achieve something, you get something in your hand to recognize that achievement. They are often highly designed. So you've got a bit of space on maybe an A4 size piece of paper with your certificate. So you can have fancy borders and images and watermarks, etc. They do have a set expiry date, so you can put an expiry date on that certificate, but once it's printed, once it's there and that expiry date is added to that certificate, it doesn't change. And if you were completed your training a week before that certificate training program expired, then that certificate is only good for a week. And there's limited information that you want to put on a certificate. So you might have certificate of achievement, or this is your PhD in biology, but it doesn't explain what your thesis was. It doesn't say how you were graded and the process of completing that PhD and the research that went into it. And unfortunately, they are also very easily forged and faked. You can buy a degree online. You can change the name on a standard PDF fairly easily. Now, in contrast, we look at badges. They are exclusively online. These are the digital credentials. They, rather than being printed off, they are shared across social networks. I mentioned LinkedIn, but there are other ways to share badges as well. And they can have both set as well as relative expiry dates. So it may be 1 year after it's issued that the badge expires. So it doesn't matter when you're awarded that certificate or when you're awarded that badge, when that particular training expires, your badge is good for a year afterwards. Now, they might not be highly designed. There's a limited space that you can use to design a badge, but they are highly descriptive. And that goes back to that previous slide where you can have all that information baked in or built into that image. They're also transferable. So I talked about sharing and pushing items to a backpack. That means if you are working across lots of different training areas, then you can push all of those badges that you've earned from the various organizations that you're working for or working, learning at, to a central backpack and push those out. So they belong to you. They can be transferred if you change your job. Whereas maybe a certificate that you can only generate within your course isn't so transferable. They are also fairly easily searchable, particularly in Totara. There's a badges report source, and you can see all of the badges that you have within your site and how many people have earned that badge and who's earned those badge. But most importantly, they are verifiable. So again, going back to that initial framework where when you share a badge, people who view that badge can check that you've earned that badge and how you've earned that badge. Any questions so far, Matt?
Not at the moment, no.
Good. I was hoping you'd stretch out that answer so I could take a sip of water. You weren't helping me today, Matt. Okay, so importantly, badges versus badges. Now, this, for anyone who's attended any of my sessions before or knows me, I have a very moderate to strong love of honey badges, but this slide does actually have some relevant information. So badges are online, as we've said, and they must be, when you create them, a JPEG, PNG, or SVG format. There are some pixel constraints, so it will be in the image you upload will be resized. They can come in different colors and shapes, and while they're in a square pixel area, you can have a circle or a dodecahedron or a triangle within that one box, and they're great. You know, versus badges, they come in both honey and standard format, and they come in different sizes. They can't be different colors and shapes, typically aren't, and they're black and white and really awesome. So now we know what. Here's the why. Why badge? So, and this is again the title of the presentation is around encouraging and motivating learners. So by issuing badges, we award people with something that they can show and share. It could be bragging rights, or it could be just going, I've achieved this, and posting that on LinkedIn. So, you know, potential employers can go, oh goodness, Matt's completed that, he'd be great in this role, or he's got the training for that job. It's a reward, so it's an acknowledgement of effort, whether that effort be a big piece or a small piece. So it could be completion of an entire program, or it could be just submission of an assignment, and sort of areas of microlearning. And it's recognition of achievement. Again, maybe big, maybe small. And it can also celebrate positive behaviors. So because we can manually issue badges to people, we can identify people that are contributing and collaborating and communicating in an effective and positive way. And we can encourage them and motivate them to keep doing it by issuing them a badge, but also try to encourage other people to reflect those same behaviors. And ultimately, it allows us to provide a degree of gamification across our learning material. So this is an extract from the gamification guide, which is on our website, which Matt, if you'd be kind enough to post a link to it in the chat, that would be much appreciated. Told you I'd get in with one. So we've identified around 6 different challenges that people respond to around gamification. So there's around 6 different challenge types that make up a gamified piece of learning. So we have engagement, so people that are participating, how long they're spending the course, number of activities completed, use of social activities. Again, you can do this manually or automated through the use of badges. So achievement, getting a certain grade or score in an item, whether that be an activity or a course or a program. Exploration. So this is kind of a combination of engagement and completion tracking by having maybe hidden items within your course. So you only see certain items if you complete certain other activities, and issuing a badge for people that poke around a lot. And you'll notice this for anyone listening, joining us today who is a gamer. Then there are these what are called achievements within Xbox and trophies within PlayStation. And you are motivated to explore that new level or complete that particular task or mission. And this is exactly the same process and drivers that people have to be awarded badges. You may look at participation, so people doing everything within a course. It could be a selection or all section of activities or all course completion that you award a badge for. And again, I've mentioned positive behaviour, and that's something really easy to see. Well, poor behaviour is probably more obvious to see, but positive behaviour in maybe a forum or some sort of social activity within Learn. And of course, within Totara Engage, we have the opportunity to, outside of gamification, is use badges to award contributions. So sharing and creating content, being collaborative within workspaces, and even people that are using the user engagement and the content engagement reports that we have in Totara Engage, are allowed to identify people that are sharing good content, and we can use badges to encourage and recognize those positive behaviors. Any questions so far?
No, but Rachel did mention that she says you've got to love a honey badger. So.
Oh, extra points, Rachel, yeah. Thank you. It took all of my self-control not to have a honey badger on every page. This slide deck.
I think the world can have more honey badgers now. Anything else? It's fine.
I agree. I entirely agree. So when else would you or might you use badges? So roughly grouping things together into 4 areas, there is group membership. So it could be that it's a group of people that are interested in honey badgers, the Honey Badgers fan club. It could be recognizing people that have 10 years of service at an organization. It could be recognize everyone that is a first aider. And you can do this again within Totara, but using badges. You can use badges around participation, whether it's completion or contribution. One interesting use case is within the seminar tool. In version 13, you can have a bulk upload of attendance. So whether it's an online event or in the future we have face-to-face events, again, you can bulk upload attendance for people that are maybe at a physical event like a conference or a conference or some sort of sales event. You can upload their attendance into Totara as a seminar event and then allow the system to award badges based on that. So thank you for attending our conference. Thank you for attending my talk. You can kind of combine offline and online using this functionality. Again, you might use badges to demonstrate ability or knowledge. So it could be just passing a course or an activity or demonstrating a skill, hard skill or soft skill, and recognizing mastery. So you might have one badge, for example, for completing a course, and you might have another badge for completing a course with 95% or greater. So I don't have a smooth transition to this slide, unfortunately. I tried very hard, but I couldn't think of a way to segue softly between these last two slides. So taking a gear shift here to talk specifically about Totara and how you can, now we've moved from what are badges and why would you use badges and how you might use badges to how can you assign them or can you award them. So badges can be awarded at the site level and the course level. At the site level, you can award based on audience membership, which has a lot of opportunities. So it could be those social groups, it could be everyone who's passed a particular course, everyone who's a first aider, which we talked about. Program completion, a set of courses, so unrelated courses, or manually issue. And that manual issue is where we can identify those behaviors or have a special issue based on something that someone has done that's outstanding. And at course level, we can have it based on activity completion, course completion, and these are automated, or again, the manual issue. So seeing someone working nicely within a course forum. So this is where I switch to my demo site. Matt, any questions while I do that?
Just a question from Angela about whether or not Totara plans to include the option to issue badges based on points.
Good question. At this stage, no. There's no points system within Totara 13.
And then with expiry, is it possible for learners to re-earn a badge?
Yeah, you can earn a badge. So if you earn it, and then the expiry comes, there's nothing stopping you from earning it again.
And last question, can you set whether badges can be awarded for retrospective completion of the criteria, or whether it will only apply from their release date onwards?
Release date, so the release of the badge.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I've never tried creating a badge retrospectively. So let me do some testing and let me get back to you on that one, because that's an interesting idea.
Okay, good one.
I'd like to think that it does it retrospectively, but I can't back that up with facts or knowledge at this stage. So I'll get back to you. Okay, so this is my demo site. This is Totara 13, and this is the full talent experience platform. So we have Learn, Engage, and Perform in here. In the administration area, I'm logged in as admin, you can see there's site badges. And if I go into a existing badge that I've uploaded, we have various criteria, which you see on screen here, which I showed you just before in the PowerPoint slide. So this is the way that you can add criteria for how people earn this particular badge. In fact, I realized I've just missed one, which is profile completion. So you can, and this is a really powerful option. And this allows you to issue a badge when people have completed a particular profile field. And that can be a standard field, or it can be a custom field. And the benefits of that is that you can encourage people to do things like upload their avatar or image or a picture of themselves. It can also be maybe a way to collect a little bit more information about your learners, maybe their areas of interest or their career aspirations, which in turn can be used to create dynamic audiences and to provide better recommendations and a better, more tailored course catalogue based on that information. So rewarding people by issuing a badge for profile completion is kind of a double reward, because then they have more targeted learning, have more targeted learning pushed towards and using the dynamic audiences information. I'm going to move to a course, and then I'll talk about the new functionality that you might not have seen before across 13. Now I go to Find Learning, and I have a course ready to go. So creating a course badge, we go into the badges area as an admin or as a editing trainer, and we go to add a new badge. Now, some of the new functionality available in 13 is that we've got a little bit more of that metadata or that baked in information available. So this is a badge. And now we've got this option of version. So in versioning, it's a number that you can enter. You can start at 100 if you're feeling wacky, but typically start at 1. And this allows you to create multiple versions of your badge, and connect them as related badges. So you can reissue a badge with some updated information or a new image, and it doesn't impact people that have already earned that badge. We also have multiple language support. Now, this lists all known and unknown languages. It doesn't list all of those languages that are installed on your site. So it gives you the option of creating different translations based on your particular requirements, and in issuing those accordingly. Now, because it doesn't, we don't have Afrikaans as a translation, as it happens. So if you had an Afrikaans translation, there wouldn't be anyone that would be issued to. You want to sync up the translations that you provide for your badges with those languages that are installed on your site, so that people will receive the badge in their preferred language. And then the description. And then we choose an image. Now, I said we need to pick a file that's a PNG, or we've got one here I created earlier. Excuse me. Oh dear. Here we go. So this is a PNG of a badger. And now we've got the image author's name. So you can accredit these 3 fields are new, 4 fields are new to 13. And what that means is that you can credit the creation of a particular image or the reuse of a particular image, which means you can do things like images that are Creative Commons or open source images where you want to be able to credit the creator of the image. You can do so here within the badge creation area. And we talked about that expiry where you can have a fixed date or a relative date. But I feel like once I'm saying, I feel once you're a fan of honey badgers, you'll always be a fan of honey badgers. And this is where we can set the criteria. So a reminder that there's the 3 types at the course level. And we can do things like activity completion. And then we can look at the 3, in this case, the 3 different activities that we have within the site. So I might say once you've completed the quiz, or you've completed the seminar, or it could be if you've completed the quiz and the seminar. So you can choose the any or all option. And then you've got an optional additional description. And this description is part of the announcement or the notification that is sent to users when they are awarded that badge. So it's optional, but you can say, you know, great work, you've been awarded this badge. So now I've created the badge and I've created a criteria. You'll note that I can actually have multiple criteria for this badge. So it could be that people need to complete this activity, but also as an editing trainer or as an admin, I can also manually issue it to someone as my women right. In this message area, you can see here that there's more information in terms of congratulations, you've earned a badge. And there are a couple of different, or just the 3 different variables that you can add in there, or placeholders you can add in there. And you can add additional information if you so wish. And what's really nice here is the notify badge creator. So you can receive a daily or a digest of who's been issued a particular badge. And that might be something where it's around, again, engagement. So a trainer might reach out and go, hey, we've had 10 people that have completed the course today, well done. For the remaining 5, keep going, you're doing great. There's lots of opportunities to leverage this as a way to help motivate and encourage your learners to complete activities as well as courses as a whole. Then there's anyone who's earned the badge, which is recipients. We've talked about related badges where you can connect badges, and this is kind of a soft connection. They're connected, but it doesn't have any influence in terms of how they can be issued, or that if you're issued one, then all the others will be issued. And then finally, endorsement. And this is a big part of the update across Totara 13. So Totara 13, we introduced the Open Badges Standard 2.0, which allows us to build in that extra metadata that we saw in terms of that issuer information and some of the additional items that you see here. We've talked about multiple language and versioning. We also have the ability to have a more flexible connection to different backpacks. So you can connect different backpack services to your Totara site. You're not tied to a particular item. There is a default, which is Badger, but you can connect to your preferred service. You just need to connect them. And then the user gets to choose which service, backpack service, they push the badge to. And finally, there's this endorsements area. And this is a really nice piece of functionality. What this allows you to do is have someone either internal, who's maybe a subject matter expert or very knowledgeable about a certain area, or even an external party, whether that be an external consultant or expert, or even a partner organization to endorse this badge. And that endorsement adds value both to the person earning it, but also to the people viewing that badge. So as an example, you might offer first aid training, and you might partner with maybe the Red Cross or some other organization that offers first aid training. And they have viewed your training content. They know that it's a really robust and safe training program. So they attach their name to that badge and saying, I endorse this, this is first aid, this is good first aid, these people are safe and skilled for this particular item. And this also builds in opportunities for marketing and co-marketing the badges when people share them. If they see that you run first aid training that has endorsement from the Red Cross or humanitarian services that has endorsements from UNICEF, people might be more inclined to take on their training and join your site, or even to go, wow, this is a great organization doing some great work. Let's see if they've got any job openings, or yeah, we want to do business with you because you've obviously got a strong learning program, or you work with some great partners. So there's lots of opportunities for endorsement and adding value to badges for you as an organization, but also just as importantly for the people earning those badges. So I can say who's issued it and who earns or who endorses that badge, and any comment that they might have, that partner or that individual around the endorsement. So this badge is great, that type of thing. And there's this claim URL. If you forget, and this is where you might have a link to, for example, the Red Cross website, whether they say we work with this organization. So you can kind of double prove again and verify that these are the endorsers and that they continue to endorse. And it's a relevant and up-to-date endorsement for your badge. So again, lots of opportunities for growth and for issuing badges. I appreciate I've gone through pretty fast. Are there any questions?
Yeah. So Marcus is asking, I saw the option to achieve a badge upon completion of a specific course or courses. Can you have them awarded if they complete X number of courses of a specific type, whichever courses they may be?
Ooh. Well, almost kind of. So if I go here, it's around that. Actually, I need to go here. The set of courses and the any and all option. So it wouldn't be, 2 courses that are relating to health and safety and 2 courses that are relating to manual handling. It would be, any of X number of courses. So let's see, can I do this one? Criteria. So we've got completing a set of courses. So it's by category. So maybe if you, again, select a few by category. And you'll notice that you've got, again, the any or all. The restrictions could be around grade, I suppose. You could apply some additional restrictions, but the particular scenario that you're describing isn't exactly met, as you can see. Interesting idea, Marcus.
Another question that was interesting from Lawrence, just asking if there's any evidence that badges improve things, for example, higher engagement. And I just wanted to say that on that one, I know there's a lot of academic research that does show that badges do encourage it. And also we had a really good case study a couple of years ago from the Best Sport and Lifestyle Project. That was for a gym. And so lots of the people that came to use their academy, they found that they weren't using it until they introduced open badges. And after they started using open badges, they started to have a huge increase in the trainers using it, just because they connected it to things like Strava, so that they got a badge on Strava. So they were so used to having sort of badges like that. So I think there is a huge amount of research that does show it is very engaging. I don't know what you think about that, Meredith.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, if you go to the Open Badges website, I think it's openbadges.me or .org, they've recently provided the 2020 report on badge use, which might be worth a read, which talks about, some of the big organizations like Microsoft and Disney and Google that are using badges, and how many badges have been issued, and some of the results people have had from issuing badges. Yeah.
Great. One more question?
Yeah.
So do you know if a claim can be linked to it? So credibly?
I don't know if I understand the question. I'm sorry.
When you sort of link badges, where can you link them to from
Oh,
Totara?
Creditly. Oh, right. Now I'm with you. I don't know about Creditly. Probably. I suspect so. I've never not used it myself. Again, that might be something I'll need to get back to you on. In terms of all the different sites, there's always ones popping up all the time. So it used to be things like WordPress and LinkedIn and Twitter, but I'm sure there's more social networks that are using open badges now.
Thanks, Mary. She'll come back to some more later.
Well, I'm pretty much done, so we can.
Okay.
I'm just at the any more information stage, so I'll cover those and then we'll see if there's any more questions. So if you need any more information, because this is a bit of a whirlwind tour, and there was a bit of an assumption that you knew what badges were, or at least some of the terminology I've been using, like backpack and issuing and earning. Hopefully, I've connected the dots for you. But if not, there's 2 blog posts that I've written in the past, Introduction to Open Badges, which kind of covers what I've been talking about, so the basics. And then there's a post that I did a little while back on getting started with open badges. And that was about not so much the functionality, but introducing badges at your organization, the kind of things that you need to think about and can think about to get started. And things also around best practice for badges. So things like not awarding 1,000 different badges for small achievements. They diminish the value of badges. So there's some discussion around setting value, keeping value to badges. There's of course the Totara Academy course. There's one open badges course on version 13. The help documentation, always valuable. And then if you do have any other questions or you want to share how you've been using badges, we encourage you to post in the community forums, and then the gamification guide that I've already mentioned. So yeah, we can do a couple more questions.
Yeah, sure. Just quickly say as well, on the Open Badges course, there's also a little bit of guidance on like different ideas about how to design badges, because obviously that's like when you come to think about your badges, like the way they look, that's also quite important. So I'm just going to put that link again to the course, which is there. And hopefully you've all started to get some badges in the community as well.
That's right. Yep, that's the easiest way to test out the process, is to do a community course, and you can be really meta and do the open badges course to check out badges. Yeah, there's some guidance around, as Matt says, do consider things like different colors, different shapes, different icons to represent different types of training, different difficulties of training, and even different subjects of training. You've got an opportunity to create visually something very attractive, as well as a way to motivate and encourage learners. Yeah, so any more questions?
Yeah, so there's sort of futurist questions here. So will badges be connected to Totara Engage, so you can earn badges toward your engagement in your system?
That is a fantastic question. And they already are. So you can issue badges, because badges sit at what we call the core level. So it sits across all of the Totara Engage, Totara Learn, and Totara Perform. There are limited opportunities to issue badges within Perform, just because of the nature of the system. With Engage, you have the same criteria that you have within Learn. However, within Engage, if you're just running Engage, you've got courses, but it doesn't track activity and course completion. So you can't issue based on activity completion or course completion, or at the course level, and at the site level, you can't issue based on a set of courses or programs, because you don't have programs within Engage. So you still have badges. It's just you will primarily need to do it within Engage across audiences or manually. But using Engage and using badges with Engage has, this is very much around that recognition pillar of engagement. If your people are creating good content and they're getting likes and they're being collaborative in workspaces, you can manually issue badges to say thanks and well done, but also to encourage others to promote content and share their knowledge within the system.
I know you've got this in your sort of gamification guide as well, Meredith, the idea of gamifying a badge. So there's a question here about for example, to encourage engagement? So could you have a badge, say, for example, you've completed your first e-learning or something like that?
Well, you could certainly do that at the site level. So with that set of courses, you can say, of all of these courses, if you've done your first one and they're all e-learning courses, you could be awarded a badge. So you could achieve that. It's a nice idea.
Or if you've done 10 courses, for example, could you achieve a 10th course badge?
So a stackable course at this stage, that isn't a criteria, but I know that that's something that we have looked at in the past. So something, and also kind of more that stackable idea where you can earn one badge, and then if you do something else, you get like a gold level badge and a platinum level badge. That's something that we'll be looking for in the future.
Thanks, Brenna. Does Totara have its own backpack solution, or do learners need to sign up to an external backpack?
It doesn't have its own backpack solution. It comes connected to Badger, badgr.com. It's tough with my Kiwi accent. You probably don't hear the vowels anyway, whether they're there or not, but that's the default. And it's free to sign up. There's no charge. And it's all very private and secure. But if you have a preferred backpack service, then you can use that instead.
Okay. When teaching Totara to new users, so not on the community, but on an organization's site, are there badges that are available to use to showcase their credentials? I suppose you could create your own.
Yeah, create your own. And in fact, if you don't have any design skills like myself, there are a number of free badge creation tools online. You just do a quick search for, create open badge. And there's a range of colors and shapes and standard icons that you can use and create your own. Or you can do like I did with the honey badger picture, is just make sure you've got an image that you like and that you have copyright on, or copyright or sharing rights on, and use that.
Yeah, it's great that you can just find those websites now, actually, isn't it? There's lots of them available where you can, like you say, design your own badge. It's really fantastic. Yeah, for people like me as well, it's difficult.
Yeah, but I think probably when I was clicking around quickly, but you may have seen one that I created. It was just like an ugly pink and yellow star. Again, just no design skill whatsoever. But nice job for the design team as well. if so.
Okay, I think that's it for today. Unless you want to answer a couple more.
No, I'm good. Unless I'm I just want to make sure we have time to cover upcoming sessions, and then we can see if there's anything else.
Okay.
So we've got quite the catalogue of upcoming sessions planned. Matt and I are going to be hanging out a lot. So on the 28th of April, so at the end of this month, we'll be doing a demo of the Totara Talent Experience platform. 19th of May, I'll be talking about competency management across Totara Reform, and that will include the updates that we'll be releasing in Totara 14, which will be coming out in a month or so, well, in April, coming out at the end of this month. And then the next TXP demo, of course, will be version 14. So you might want to sign up for the 26th of May. 9th of June, we're talking a bit more about workspaces and cross-engage. And then the 14th of July, we'll be looking at learning plans. If there are other subjects that you'd like us to cover, please do post that in the chat, and Matt and I can argue about when we schedule those in. Cool. Any last questions there, Matt?
If I don't know if you know off the top of your head, is the Badger server located in the EU? Is there a Badger server located in the EU?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head, I'm afraid. I'm sure if you hit the website, they'll let you know, but that is an interesting question. Okay. I think that is it for today. Wicked. Well, thank you so much, Matt, and thank you so much, everyone who's joined me. I appreciate your time. If you do try badges as a result of the session and have some success, do write in and let us know. There might be a case study in there, and we'd love to know how you're using them. So do post in the forums and in the chat and let us know. And just to let you know as well, that open badges course and the community is going to be updated hopefully this week. So I'll be posting about that, and so you can access the newest version of the Academy course
this week. Okay, so thanks everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your time. Have a great week and great weekend and stay safe. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.